Hey everybody, I'm Marnie. Welcome back to Black Butte Forge. Today we're going to finish up the Cali Lilly body. I got plenty of these in brass, but I need to make one up in copper, and so I'm just going to go ahead and make one up for the flower series. And here's the pistil brazed onto the stem, and it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to hide all that underneath the body of the flower. That can go right here for now. Let's talk about some of the tools you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need a template. You're going to need a template that you cut out that's been annealed, cleaned up, wire brushed. You're going to want some pickup tongs of some sort. I got a couple of different pairs here, big and small. You'll want a small ball peen hammer. You will definitely want these small little jeweler's scrolling pliers and probably the small set of your needle nose pliers that have been rounded off. So you'll want those. The other thing you're going to need is a cone. The cone on the end of the anvil, the bick as they call it, that's a little bit too large for the small flowers. If you're going to make big Cali lilies, like for gate cameos and whatnot, then you probably could get away with using the bick on your small anvil. So for the flowers, I need a small cone, and this one we made in the lathe. You can barely see what's left of the center, and I think I remember we turned this down and we left like say a half-inch shaft on the end of it, and then we put it in the drill press and smoothed it off really well. So this is how you're going to start it. So let's get started here. Well, you need a bick like this, and then I have another bick that's made for the top the hardy hole here in our small 175-pound anvil that's kind of behind me in the corner there next to the hammer. And then this is simply, you know, it works to hold welding rod, okay, but it also works to hold this small bick, okay. And I'm just going to clamp this down to the table. All it is a quick and dirty hardy hole pocket that we made. Okay, so this, because the Cali Lillies are annealed, they're soft, you're going to start by taking this, and I like to line it up just to the very end of that, and simply start by wrapping it around like this. That's it. It's all a hand show at first. Take your little ball peen and work that over. Let them overlap just a hair. Knock these two little tabs down at the bottom of your template. You're totally done with the cone. Get rid of that. That's it. Once you run through all your Cali Lillies with the cone, you'll go to that. So next, what I'll do is simply sort of squeeze it a little bit, and I will come into this bick here a little, and I will make it a little bit tighter. Work both sides. I can put that around because I'll be needing it. And so there we go. We're getting up there. You can start to take the flower itself, the stem, feed it in there. Now you know about how small you got to get it. All right. All right. So I'll take my pickups now, the smaller tongs, and I'll just sort of close it around, and I'll close it around on the bottom there. Something like that, okay? Something like that. And then should have something like this, okay? So this is the stage that you're going to fire up the torch, and you're going to weld this up. Actually, if you could see real closely how I've got a little bit of a bump in here, I want to smooth that out. So we're going to smooth that out a little bit here. Let me get this out of my way just a tad. And you can just come to the table. Be gentle. Close that gap a little bit. There we go. That's a lot better. So now you can see. Probably going to pinch these corners down a little bit more before I gas weld it. So let's just do that. like most welding, if you have a good fit, the welding should go a little bit easier. All right, so let's set this up in the jig and get this welded so I can get to showing you how to shape it. So all I do is put this in the jig. I've showed you the jig before. This time I already made sure my gas was turned on so I can't get tricked. Ha ha. Okay. Now's when you want to try to get this elevation, how high the pistol sticks up out of the flower. You want this right where you want it before you start to weld it. There we go. I'm happy with that. All right, let's weld. So for making the flowers, gas welding is something that you need to know. If you haven't learned how to gas weld and braze specifically, really should learn. If you ever want to be a good TIG welder, I highly recommend starting by gas welding. It's just the way it is. It's the exact same discipline doing gas welds as it is with TIG. Very, very super similar. It's the same postures, it's the same travel angles, it's a lot of the same of everything. Let's get some more fluxy flux on there. So if you notice, I'm kind of holding back with the torch. You never bury that tip right there. You'll burn a hole through everything if you do. There we go, we're getting some flow. Get a little bit more. I need to try to fill this gap. I got a gap at the bottom of the flower. You'll see when you make them, where you close, you're going to get that gap. So again, see how high I'm holding the torch off of here? If you come too close, you're going to burn your hole. And you don't want to do that. If you are burning a hole, use the rod as the heat sink. Try to plug it. There we go. I like that. Let's do this a little bit more. Let's come in from this side. There we go. Not too bad. All right. Don't worry about your welding skills on this. You just got to make it whole. Because now that we're done brazing this up, tongs, you may not think this is going to be hot out here, but I guarantee you it will. It's the nature of copper. Go in the water. Go in the water. Alright. So I'm welded on. It's just a simple braze. Don't worry about that. Okay, so you got that on there. What I've got behind me set up is the same sander that I used for the pistol. And I'm just going to clean up that braze really quick. Watch this. Not bad, not bad. Let's pull the chair closer. Okay. So now we're back to shaping. Once you've welded that on and cleaned it up, shaped it up a little bit, you take a wire brush. Remember, the copper is super soft, so don't push too hard, especially now that you welded that back on again in a way that you annealed it twice in a way, so it's really soft. Get in there. Be careful not to cut yourself. Clean it up a little bit. Now's the time to get underneath these edges while you curl them. All right, that's close enough for right now. Okay, so you should have something that look like this, okay? Something similar, all right? All right. So next, here's what you're gonna do. Take your scrolling pliers first and start on the part that's overlapped down here. And just simply start to gently roll it back. Don't try to do it all at one time. You will put a kink in it. Just start it and come back and work it a little bit more, a little bit more. So use the jaws to kind of squeeze it and get it to conform to a nice curve. And just roll it, start to roll it right there. Okay, got that started. So you should be started to get that rolled out like that. All right. Now that I have something to work with, I could start with this. So I'll take my needle nose pliers that have been radiused and start the same thing. Just gently start to get it to start. And come back around here like this. So you can only come so far up the Cali Lily before you run into where it transitions the other way, and that's what this is for. And so now you can start to work it over with that bick. Now you see why I have the bick. Kind of spin it while you work it. Take it all the way up. You'll sort of see a line on the inside develop. You just want to keep that line going, keep it smooth. And take that line until it comes up about right behind the pistol. This time you got to flip it over. Yep. And you're just going to have to do the same type of maybe left-handed action. Some folks are ambidextrous. If you can, switch hands. I can be ambidextrous. I just easier to work right-handed. I got tennis elbow one time, and I literally had to finish an entire big old 17-month-long project. We were like probably 12 months into it, and I had to finish with my, forging with my left hand. So I taught myself how to do penny scrolls with my opposite hand. So you can forge the other way. It's possible. All right. Okay, so you can see how you're starting to get that shape now. Your little pliers that go like that, they work great for this right here. You can come in here and get that to lay back a little bit, the way a Cali Lily naturally does. And then I'll maybe take my jeweler's pliers and I'll scroll it back a little bit the other way. And that, for the most part, is how you make your Cali Lily. That's all there is to it, folks. So, there's my Cali Lilies to go with my irises and to go with the daisies that we've made in the other video as well. And so on the final video, we're going to do the roses. And for the roses, again, you're going to want to cut your star out. You're going to want 3 different size patterns. And you're going to want to get a bunch of leaves that are going to be your rose leaves, like these. So make up your leaves and make up your templates, and we'll get going on a video on the roses. The rose video will probably be broken up into 2 videos for sure, because it's time consuming to make these. There's a ton of steps, so I'll break that one up. And as I said in the earlier part of the flower series, I want to make I wanted to spend time on the roses, because there's a ton of blacksmiths that always want to make roses, and you see them at every hammering you've ever been to. So I'm going to teach you how I make them, and once you learn how to make them out of copper, you can repeat the same thing to make them out of steel. However, you're obviously going to have a heat, hundreds and hundreds of heats. So at any rate, thanks for joining me at Black Butte Forge. If you enjoyed the video, press like, share it with your friends. Had a great time with the flower series so far, and we are just simply down to the rose. And so we'll see you next time at Black Butte Forge. And thanks for joining me, and have a great one. Have a good weekend. Stay cool.